Good morning. It's good to have you join us on Nigeria Now, showing on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. My name is Merciful. Joining us to analyze some stories this morning on the front pages of the newspapers for today is Mustafa Ali. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much
Good
for
morning.
having me. Yeah,
Yes, well, let's begin from the Vanguard newspaper. And the banner headline there is "No Pact to Cede Presidency to Southwest. APC Bigwigs insist." And that's on page 5. A couple of others. The first says stakeholders fought zoning formula, 2 days to convention, and then party rakes in over 700 million naira from nomination forms. Opposition mounts against Omishore in Southwest. Bauchi stakeholders kick. Don't hand over party to strangers. That's coming from Mustafa. Yaya Bello's camp upbeat. Then fresh hurdles for Abdullahi Adamu as defunct legacy parties kick. Before you talk about the ceding presidency to Southwest and the story that covers it, we know that it's 2 days to the convention, and we've had this date moved over and over again, and we know what's happening in APC. What's your take on this update?
it's what it is. The interest is eating up, and the organization amongst the political heavyweight, it's in disarray, and everybody have to, come together to see that this convention in the next 2 days, to some extent, fly like it's workable. Because at the end of the day, if they don't get it right on March 26th on Saturday, then the party will be in a total disarray, and they will not be able to, fix the issues, because right now the issues are way beyond them, and the only way they can actually forge ahead is if they can be able to have some of them to mellow down why the interest of the party comes first at all times. So it's just what it is. It's a big party. It's a federal party. Everybody wants to eat a slice of the cake. So you always have this happening.
Do you see these issues being resolved before the convention? And I know you did say everyone in the party, the bigwigs, they all want to have a slice of the cake. Do you think people will actually decide to step down for the reason why the party was created, for it to come to pass?
In a political party, you always see a lot of things like this, even in the smallest of the political parties. That's because clash of interests always and will always arise. Then you're talking about a party like APC, who is at this federal, who is a big one, who have a lot of governors in it. I think 22 governors and a lot of bigwigs, like you said. The issues of resolving the crisis in this party does not have to end before the convention. You can actually resolve a crisis in a party like this going further after the convention.
But we have 2023 coming, and that's just next
That
year.
is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, if anybody who is aggrieved after the convention can always be settled or talked to or have some kind of dialogue situation where they can be able to resolve all issues before the 2023 election. This is just one stage of many other stages that's going to be following up this convention. So if you didn't get to the first stage, you're always going to try and see how you can get into the second stage. That's the primary. So they have to come together. They have to have this notion of, we want to win. And if they get to lose, even the heavyweight and whoever in the party will feel it. And I don't think any of them is ready to feel that loss that they are trying to march towards to.
Okay, so as a political analyst, what's your stance on ceding presidency to the Southwest, talking about the APC?
Everybody have a pattern of doing things. APC have said that they're going to cede the presidency to the Southwest. That is what they want to do. That is how they want. That's where they want their candidate to come from. That is where they're feeding out candidates from, and that's because they have been able to have a president who came from the north and have been and is finishing a 2-term tenure of 8 years. So it's only advisable and wise of the party to, go to the other side of the divide. That is the western, that is the southern part. So I feel it's their arrangement, personal arrangement by the APC, which most people are not going to be cool with it in the party. Like you have the likes of Yaya Bello and some other heavyweights who feel and wish they can vie for this presidency position. So
all right, let's just go ahead. Still on Vanguard, we have a couple of other stories, of course. And underneath the picture of today, we see police mount heavy security at Assembly Complex. And of course, the story there is sacked 20 Cross River lawmakers. That's the story that's found on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. We see something else: 40% Nigerians below poverty line. And that's a report from the World Bank. Of course, you can grab yourself a copy of the Vanguard newspaper. On the Daily Sun, the big story there is fireworks at Senate over court judgment on Electoral Act. Two rather, the first, debate deferred to today. The second, NBA begins probe, calls for caution, decorum. We know of the Electoral Act and the Amendment Bill and how long it has taken for everything to happen, and yet we still keep seeing, back and forth on everything. What's your take on this update, talking about the Nigerian Senate and the Electoral Act judgment?
The situation is a situation where you have some executive who, in their own selfish interests, are not pleased with the outcome of the section, which denies them from which allows them to resign 3 months before primaries. That is uncool to them, and they don't take it lightly.
But what's your take? I know that some people are of the opinion that they should be able to exercise their voting rights. They should be able to be a part of the process, regardless of whether they are in the system or not.
The legislative arms are that particular arm of government that makes law, amends it, and you need to give everybody its regards as the institute of governing a state will be. So this have been an issue back and front, and it's so unfortunate that even when the president has signed the electoral law, we're still having one or two interests inflicting and deciding what this law should be about. Right now we're supposed to be trying to see how we can prepare towards exhibiting this law for the excellence pattern of what this electoral act law will be to Nigerians, for Nigerians. So I feel the interest of the executive doesn't really matter once the legislative have already put into law what they feel is best for the populace.
For the country. All right. Still on the Daily Sun, of course, we see another big story there. Federal government declares war on all thieves. That's on page 2 of the Daily Sun newspaper. On the Nigerian Tribune, the big story talking about APC convention, Southern delegates set to stop Adamu, and that's on page 5. On the Punch, we see massive job cut looms, dollar hit 590 naira as forex scarcity bite harder. That story, of course, is on the Punch newspaper. And the Guardian newspaper, the big story, APC throws screening open to all chairmanship aspirants. That's, of course, on the front page of that newspaper. On the Nation newspaper, PDP quakes over zoning. That is, of course, an update from PDP. But let's go over back to the Daily Sun newspaper. We know what's happening, talking about Anambra State. And the update here says Obiano left 300 million naira cash, over 100 billion naira debt, and that's coming from Soludo, who has just taken office, and that's on page 6. Very quickly, because of time, we don't have time on our hands. But what do you take of? What's your take on what's happening in this state and this money that's being called, talking about changing office to a new person with this number of debts?
This just showed you the bastardization of governance in this country, where a governor feels like the state's wealth is like a personal wealth.
And that's corruption.
Of course, it's ridiculous. It's something that is unthought of. So it's poor governance, poor character, poor individuality in regards to leadership, and we need to do more than this as political holders. We need to serve the people. We need to be able to be accounting and accounted for whatever it is that it requires serving the people. So I feel we can do better, and this is just a sad news on our part.
Definitely. Of course, you can get that story on Daily Sun newspaper. We see something just underneath that. 2023, Niger Delta bishops call for Southern Christian president. That's on page 28. And all of these stories, of course, that borders around 2023 general elections. Just grab yourself a copy of any of these newspapers and read about them. And don't forget, you can also stay updated on our website. That is www.tostvnetwork.com. Our social media platform at TOS TV Network is right there on the screen: Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Like and stay engaged. Mr. Mustafa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Mr.
And thank you, viewers, for staying tuned to Nigeria. Don't forget, we're coming away again tomorrow, same time. Stay safe and have a nice day.